What's going on, you beautiful, beautiful people? Can we, hold on. Let's see here. Let's try this a little differently here. Let's ASMR this bitch. What up? How's this coming through? Let me look at the thing. Oh, yeah, it's sitting right there at the yellow. Yeah. Hey, man. William Barry here, coming at you with another video. I guess before I dive into this, I'm a little hesitant to do this reaction. The reason for that is, I'm scared that this song is gonna make me come off a little unhinged. And, there's a good reason for that. Let me say this before we get into it so that I don't waste anybody's time. I don't know necessarily what the song is about. I know it's called Money Games. I guess I should have looked up the lyrics before I started. A little disclaimer. I am a capitalist. I am a social democrat that believes in social safety nets for people. I don't want to talk politics here on this channel. It's too divisive by and large. But I advocate for a system of governance that helps lift people up. But I still believe that the best level of governance is through capitalism, when it's got a heavy hand of regulations that prevent it from going overboard. I'm afraid this song might disagree with me. So, if you guys don't like the things I say in this video and you want to go your separate ways, allow me to still thank you from the bottom of my heart for making the last couple days super impactful and meaningful in my life. I will do my best to speak things that I believe to be true in a way that is not against any particular group of people. But I will stumble and I will fall. All right, this one's called Money Games, and it's the most requested video here on this channel so far. There's a bunch of songs that we're going to listen to in sequence, probably not all today, but the next one I know is going to be the lyrical video. I don't know what this song is about, but if it has anything to do with bearing responsibility for the world that we inhabit and making that world consistently remain vile and evil, this is something worth digging into. I just hope that I don't have to be hypercritical to the message that's being displayed. All right, fuck it. Let's pull the Band-Aid off. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait, hold on. First things first. Oh, shit. I'm gotta minimize. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm clicking too many things. Shit's going all haywire. This is terrible. Hit the reaction. Yeah, there it is. Moment of truth, folks. Let's see what Ren's got to tell us. Money Games, the official music video, posted 5 years ago with 6.5 million views. Oh, ooh, what a fucking...
It's a strange time we're living in. Bull can put fear in. Hierarchy parties, they make us feel inferior. Rerun through parliament interiors. Devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie theory, stripe fearing, weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships.
Oh, come on, man. You already... I don't... One, let's talk about the music before I make any critical statements of the phrase that he just made. And I've also learned my lesson that I probably fucked up. I should probably wait to the end of the verse before I pause. But who would I be if I didn't fucking run my mouth and get proved wrong literally seconds later, okay? Okay. One, this music sounds sublime. I'm getting hints of Bob Marley, a little bit of Sublime. Oh, it's sounding good with a little bit of reggae and ska. But more importantly, something that's really awesome is his vocal cadence and overall vocal performance. This is a masterclass. I love the way that Ren is able to fucking rhyme, dude. He bounces back and forth so elegantly, and it literally flows perfectly with the music. I know when I say something like it sounds like a rubber ball bouncing off of walls, that it's somehow like it doesn't sound as meaty as I'm trying to describe. It just sounds like it's got such a lyrical cadence that it makes it infectious. One would be able to argue, even though the guitar is fucking sublime, you could probably remove the guitar and it would still sound like a beautiful song. A lot of artists struggle with that. All right. And I don't believe we live in a dictatorship. I'm just going to put that out there. But I mean, maybe he expands on that.
Parliamentarians, devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie, theory, stripe, fearing, weary minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships, nearly blinded by illusions to choose who's fooling who. A ball chained to your shoes on pain. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game that lets this whole world burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns.
Okay, so I mean, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. That makes greed a game that lets the whole world burn. He's not necessarily saying that greed itself is what makes the whole world burn, which I think is a good thing to point out. That's a good criticism, because one of my fears, especially with people that are more on the left or more kind of like open-minded to like the folly of the West, is that they kind of fall into like a Marxist ideology, which there's nothing wrong with Karl Marx and his work. I think that some of it was overly flawed and it lacked a lot of nuance that was required to dive into what we're seeing, in live situations. Like a lot of people that want to practice things like socialism or Marxism, though they're two different systems of governance and two different worldviews and thought processes, they do tend to want to fall into like money is the problem. Money is not inherently the problem. The problem for mankind is mankind. One could be articulate on this far better than I am, but the thing that they could point out to that causes a lot of problems within our very society isn't the fact that we have a mode or a financial mode in which we spend capital. The problem in our society is that we have people that hoard capital. We have people that hold on to money. As much as you don't like them, people that open up businesses, even if they're multi-billion-dollar businesses, create jobs. Yes, we need to have a conversation about wealth inequality in this country, and I agree with you. But that doesn't mean I want to round up all the people that put money into those same systems and then hang them from the trees. I don't want to completely destroy the system that I believe is helping a majority of people. Capitalism, for all of its woes, failures, and follies, has still managed to lift thousands, millions of people out of poverty. Now, maybe they go from one frying pan to another, and a lot of them are barely maintaining and struggling to stay within those confines. I myself included. I'm literally unemployed right now, and I'm living on my life savings, and the money is running out, boys. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you just get rid of the mode in which we facilitate trade, whatever other resource we have to utilize that will be hoarded. And then what happens when people don't have the means to produce goods and services? Who's going to take care of them? If we switch to a barter trader system, what are we going to use? People that live on disability will lose any safety net they have because they can't produce goods or services. They need to be taken care of, and for good reason. We should take care of members of our society that need help. But it's a complex question that requires a lot of thought. And luckily, Ren here is not just saying money bad. He's saying that the pursuit of capital makes greed a game that burns the whole world alive. Maybe he disagrees with my analogy of what he's saying. Maybe the other songs bear that out. But it's a cool, nuanced position to have because greed can be a good thing when utilized correctly. No different than the abyss in your heart, or no different than the ego that strives underneath your skin. Greed can make people become the best versions of themselves through a pursuit of perfection. Rin, in his room by himself, when other people were out, you know, making love, chasing women, hanging out, he was in his room playing guitar by himself, lost in his own thoughts, struggling with the demons in his mind. He wanted to be one of the best guitarists, so he put that effort in. That effort is born from a greed, from ego, from the concept that he deserves to be that because he's willing to put in the work. I can also attribute this to my own life. I have run very successful shops for the last handful of years. I worked for a company called Monroe. Not a very good company, not a very reputable company, but I did enjoy my job when I was there. I worked for this company for 5 years. And for 2.5 to 3 years of that time, I was a general manager and I ran an entire team of talented people. When I took over the store was making about $200,000 a year. You're talking about a store that was doing about 20 grand a month in a town called Xenia, Ohio. The thing that I did was I found out that we weren't having a lot of customers, so I dramatically lowered our price, even against the wishes of my company. For a while there, we were untouchable. We had the cheapest brakes in town, cheapest alignments, and we were finding ways to facilitate as much money as possible, and I wasn't willing to let a customer walk. If I had to make a deal to make sure I got that sale, I did it, even sometimes if it hurt my total bottom line. But I'd rather lose a little up front and gain a customer for life than lose a customer to a guy down the street who's got the same mindset that I do. By doing that, and also going to the colleges and setting up discounts for local people, we managed to bring up the customer base significantly. We went from a store that made about $20,000 a month to a store that made about $96,000 a month. The store went from making $200,000 a year to making $1.2 million a year. And we did that through creative strategies to help people with as much as we can. But by doing that, unbeknownst to me, I put a black flag in the ground and I broke societal, or not societal, but like the norms of the industry that I'm in. So then when my company found out how I was making all this money, ultimately they came in and said, we would make more money if you sold less stuff. We would have higher total gross profit if you sold 60% less, but for 200% more. They were okay with the store not making a lot of money because it strangled the technicians. They didn't get to make any profit. They didn't have any expenses. And I was wrong initially in my thought process. I was unaware that I didn't just have to make money for my store. I had to make money for the whole market. So by cutting down on those prices, I lowered the overall price pool that would go to other stores that were failing and falling behind. Now, I still would have done what I did and I stand by it, but the reason why I'm such in a hard predicament now is by doing those things and striving to be number one, so I could be in the chat every night posting, doing $7,000, $9,000 a day, while other people were putting up $300 because they couldn't sell shit because they were charging 3 times market, or 3 times the price of a part. We sell rotors for almost $200 a pop. I was selling them for like $95. We buy them for $40. The problem is it pissed off all of our our customers loved it. Our competition. By pissing off the competition, ultimately when me and my company had a falling out and I left, none of that competition wants to hire me now because they know how I made the money and I ran the business, because of course they did. I literally took money from them by undercutting them. It's a bummer because that ego, that greed to be number one, to have the best numbers, created an environment where customers got a damn good product for a reasonable price. My technicians made a fuck ton of money. But because I didn't play the game the way they wanted it played, ultimately I got ousted from my position. I was let go from my company, and now I can't find someone in the town I live in to hire me because of the way that I did my business practices. Because these companies want to make as much money as possible. Greed can be a bad thing. I'm not saying it's not, but it can do good as well. Wanting to be best at something is a greedy thing. You have to find a way to utilize greed, much as you do ego. I hope that Ren isn't just going to come out and say, "Oh, money's bad." That's my fear in this video, because it's not about that. The problem isn't money or the mode in which we facilitate trade. The problem resides in everyday people that are uninhibited and let their greed run rampant.
Our illusions to choose, but who's fooling who? A ball chain to your shoes, I'm pain. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed the game that lets this whole world burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a killer.
I mean, he's right, but like all modes of trade will do that. I kind of touched on that before, but like, no matter what we replace money with, it's going to have the same effect. There is a negative side effect to humanity itself. It's not just money is the issue. And he didn't really say that there, so that's pretty cool. He didn't say money is that, but now those bits of paper twist hearts because they're corrupted by greed, uninhibited greed, like anarcho-capitalism where there's no regulation or rules, which is a dangerous game. We need those safety nets.
The whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a killer. His finger on the trigger of a money game. Oh, rain, 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 a storm it comes our way, and those who rise to distorted lies, poison in the veins, but we like to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame.
Nice.
But point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. Stop.
He brings it back. Dude, now I see why people said that, because like this is something I wrestled with since a kid. Like I started writing Ill of Men at the age of 15. The very first chapter of it, which is completely different than the way it is now, I uploaded to Facebook. The characters are different, the setting's different, but like the first chapter is basically chapter 6 now. Something that's really interesting is that in that book, even early on in my life, I made Tis the goddess of greed, the goddess of lust and avarice. And without going to spoilers in a book that, you know, a few people are reading now, which is fuck yeah! But more importantly, the gods offer a duality. Though Tis stokes wants of, you know, freedom, like unbridled freedom, which is dangerous. She wants people to fuck who they want to fuck. People who want to run rampant, to steal, to thieve, to do whatever your heart's desire is. Everything your little wicked heart wants, she wants you to do. But at the same side, she inspires warriors to be the best version of themselves, to train harder than anyone, to like leave behind a legacy. And by wanting to leave behind that legacy, people spend that time pursuing a craft or an art. She acts as one of the biggest shields against the progenitor, Vil-Harass, which is one of the villains of the book. It's an interesting power dynamic. And it's pretty cool that like he's kind of playing into that. We as a society perpetuate the circumstances that we're in every day by the things we react to, by the things we watch, by the things we spend our money on, by the things we give our time to. It's a heartbreaking thing. And no one wants to hear that we bear responsibility because no one wants to carry that trauma. You know what I mean? Like, I live in a country that enslaved people 250 years ago, 300 years ago. That's fucked up. The things we did to African Americans is one of the most disgusting things I can think of. And the same thing that we did to Native Americans that were here before us, like we devastated their lands. Like, and I live in a society that literally is built upon those things. Now, I don't hate my society, but I'll never deny that we had horrific events in our past that created the dynamics that we exist in today. I am a product of those things. And all we can do is speak truth to that when they pop up.
Blame, it's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. Stop.
I love how this guy uses silence, dude. I love it. I love it. Oh, I'm just afraid I'm gonna hit mute. Oh. Don't hit your homie, dog. Ooh. That's so beautiful, dude.
This old money game.
Alright. Oh! To the music!
Dear Mr. President.
Oh my god, did you look at that shot? That's a fucking album cover. Oh, that's glorious, dude. He has such a good cinematic flair. Dear Mr. President, this was 5 years ago. There's a good chance Donald Trump was in office. I'm gonna try not to get political here, but it might happen, boys.
Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate, when they make us believe that everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. They say proudly through gritted teeth, that's my right to hate, that's feeding my speech.
Ah, fuck, he said some really beautiful shit. And then something I know I'm gonna disagree with him on. Fuck! Alright guys, this is it. It was nice knowing you. I love you. And best travels. Freedom of speech extends to speech you don't like. Hands down. I get a lot of flack in the left and the communities that I inhabit because I won't say it's okay to assault a Nazi or a white supremacist. I'm not going to make that claim. I disagree vehemently with their worldview. I think they're wrong. And I think what they're putting out there is disgusting. And I will use my voice to argue against it every fucking day. But you have to use your voice to argue against it. Violence only emboldens them. I've talked about him before, but Daryl Davis managed to convince people that were born and raised in the fucking South through kindness. The civil rights movement, and by and large the women's rights movement, and by and large the LGBT rights movement, all of these things found success because they played to the center. A lot of people that are radicalized come up with the idea that, oh, I'm not going to play to the center. Fuck them. If they don't agree with me, they're against me. And by having that worldview, you get Trump. It's that simple. A lot of people on the left refused to vote for fucking Kamala Harris because they thought it was going to be more Biden. And they picked their particular topics and they stood steadfast on that. And now we have a president who's dropping bombs on people, who's literally abdicating his responsibility to the Constitution, the document he swore to uphold, by getting rid of due process. And then you have dipshits like Hassan saying she would have been just as bad. No fucking shot. I'm not saying don't stand up for your principles, but I'm saying politics is a zero-sum game. If you want people to support your movement, you have to fucking earn the center. The center are people that don't make politics their life. Do you know how Martin Luther King managed to convince a bunch of people that black people deserved rights? I know it's a crazy sentence in our modern America, but do you know how he did it? He walked out and told the Black Panthers they were wrong for the violence they were committing. When they sick dogs on him, when they sprayed him with fire hoses, they locked arms and they said, we will not fight back. Through peaceful protest and through the sheer brutality of the police officers at the time and the overreach of the president or the powers that be, turned the tide to making average people that weren't locked into the struggle to come out and say, I don't like what the fuck I'm seeing. One of the biggest problems that has been filtering through the modern LGBT community is they have such a strong stance of purity testing their side. They say, if you weren't 100% with me, you're my enemy. And they come out pushing crazy ideas sometimes. And it pushed more and more people against them. And now we have a president who's literally making it to where they can't serve in the military. You're not allowed to have pride in your country. Who's naming the fact that there's only two genders? By utilizing hate tactics that the right has universally done for a long time, they made more people MAGA. And I'm sorry, politics is about power. It's 100% about power. It's not really left versus right. It's about human decency at the end of the day. And the reason why the left usually wins more is because typically they're usually the side that aims for human decency and they're not willing to stick to old beliefs. Left and right is an archaic system. At the end of the day, there are times where tradition can be upheld, and it should be. I read a study one time, I can't remember who it was from, but you need people on the left to make a thing. And then you need people on the right to maintain a thing. By combining both parties, you can make the best of people. It's a complex thing that requires a lot of thought. And luckily, so far, he's doing pretty good. But freedom of speech, it's about allowing bad people to speak. If you disagree with them, meet them in the battle of the mind. It's never okay to be violent. Unless you're literally at war and then the paradigm shifts. But that's a different time for a different person.
That everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. They say proudly through gritted teeth. That's my right to hate. That's freedom of speech. But when did freedom become a reason to hate? A way to justify a racist slur or insult we make? There's an irony in freedom, cause us in the West, we have pillaged and plundered the murder like savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain
come on, man. Don't do the Marxist stuff, dude. Come on. Don't do it, please. I want to love you, Rin. Don't do this to me. Yes, we've done a lot of bad shit, and you can call that out, but that bad shit existed long before the West. History is rife with people that have done terrible shit in the name of their so-called truth. Genghis Khan literally lowered the world population through his constant conquest and nearly conquered all of Asia, dude. Nobunaga Oda during the Sengoku era of Japan literally lit people on fire and tortured people of a religious sect that disagreed with him. They call it the massacre at Honnoji. Or no, there's a mountain. He died at Honnoji. I don't remember the name. Come on, bro. I'm not that good with history. Ieyasu Tokugawa overthrew the Toyotomi through betrayal and civil war to create his dynasty as a shogunate, and then ruled for I think 150 years or 200 years. And then he used isolationism to purge and kill Christians. And then he outlawed swords so no one could ever rise up against him. Human terribleness did not happen because of the West. And I don't think he's going to say that, but it sounds like he's kind of leaning that way. And I agree with what he's saying. We should be critical of these things. It's a massive level of hypocrisy to stand on the corpse of our forefathers and our ancestors who did terrible things, and then, talk about lofty ideals about peace and justice and freedom. But that's what these people died for. We should call out the bad acts, but we can be proud of the ones that were good. And there were some. The founding of our country here in America was a beautiful thing. It was spurred by the Enlightenment era that talked about separation of church and state and separating kings and people. And it came up with the idea of those that are consenting to governance. It wrote some of the most beautiful, elegant writing that's ever been seen by mortal man. Many people were Christians or people that practiced Catholicism, but they were deists. They separated their religious views from public life, which maybe we should go back to that. I say all of these things because history is full of examples of bad people, but it's also full of really beautiful sentiments. I'm not saying America has the perfect system, but America has so far one of the best systems we've ever seen. Now, do we need work? Yes. And whenever we do need that, you know what we do? We take to our streets with our banners and we call for justice and peace. We remind those that govern us that they are there by our choice. And if they ever so think themselves kings, well, sometimes the tree of liberty needs to be fed to the bloodshed of tyrants and patriots. We hopefully never have another civil war. But sometimes we get close. Sometimes would-be kings need to learn that we don't have kings in America. We have people.
In the West, we have pillaged and plundered the murder like savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain value that you never keep yourselves. Your country was in flames. You denigrate yourselves in a second. Still you spit your venom, demonizing immigrants when really you're the immigrant, because all of us are immigrants or
Look, I'm gonna give a good faith interpretation to the other side. Stupid idea, I know. I fully support immigration. Let's put that out there. Let's put that out there 100%. I think that if you want to come to my country, our country, a country of immigrants, and you want to work hard, you should be here. I'm never going to make the claim, well, you should do it legally. Yes, the goal is to do it legally. But right now in America, we have a system that takes 20 fucking years to get to this country. And well, between 8 and 20 years, depending on whatever the fuck they find. That's too long. And unless we're gonna have an actual reform to our immigration policy, whatever, do what you need to do. Come here, work, support your community, build you guys up through, hard work. I believe in the American dream, even though the American dream is mostly a lie, and it's something we feed ourselves to justify the bullshit work that we do. I have a deep level of sympathy for socialism and Marxist ideas because I've been in management and I've seen how corrupt this shit can get. That being said, I also know that the people that worked above me were people. And they were doing the best they could with the information they had. Your boss is not automatically a dickhead because he's your boss. He has parameters and rules that he has to follow through with. He's been given obligations and things he has to do. And sometimes those obligations and things work against you. Immigrants that are here and are hardworking members of our society should be here. But there's a reason why we have borders. We should personally vet the people that come in here. That's not to say that people are coming from war-torn lands shouldn't be granted amnesty and they shouldn't be, brought in. I'm totally okay with all of that. But there is a logical reason why borders exist. I'm not for open borders because I know men can do terrible things, and people that get away with it keep doing it. We should vet people that come to this country. Wholeheartedly. That's a common sense thing. We shouldn't denigrate immigrants that are here. These are people that just want a better life for their loved ones and for themselves. And if they're willing to work, there's even a cost analysis that makes it okay. Let's say you have a kid. You love your kid. Your kid is a beautiful soul. It's your kid, right? Kids cost a lot of money, don't they? They do, right? They're fucking expensive. They eat a lot of food. They don't do anything around the house. They absorb resources. But you don't care about it because it's your kid and you love them. They're your everything. But for society, they're a drain. I don't like the word drain. They're a cost. The problem with kids is they don't start producing things typically until they're about 18. Now, I'm not saying we should put kids to work. I'm not saying that. Let a kid be a kid. But you know what's crazy? We can bring in someone who's 22 from another country that absorbed that cost. And we can put them to work here and make our country better. We cut out a massive portion of the cost to rear these people, and they get a better life. How is that not a win-win? Like, just economically, it makes sense. Countries rely on immigration all the time to boost growth and GDP. Immigration is a beautiful thing, but we shouldn't straw man the other side because that we hate it when it happens to us. Immigrants should come to this country, especially B1 visas and people that are from like the Muslim communities that are going through a reformation, that are coming to understand that the more extreme parts of their ideology, well, are extreme. Christianity had to go through a reformation. Catholicism had to. I mean, all of these religions can still be taken to their logical extremes. Not to say that they can't, and I'm not saying that Islam is worst. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need to have Islamist reformists come to our country that can spread the gospel of the West in a way that can de-radicalize their very family. That's a powerful thing. Immigrants matter. We need immigrants. We just shouldn't put up a fake argument as to why. Like there are legitimate reasons why we can bring immigrants here that can benefit America. Without saying open borders, because I don't know anyone that really preaches for open borders.
Your venom, demonizing immigrants when really you're the immigrant. Cause all of us are immigrants or descended from immigrants. Irony is imminent. I'll shed the light on immigrants. America was colonized by Britain.
Facts.
Britain, it was colonized by Rome.
Facts.
And also colonized by the Saxons.
Facts.
They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon the Germans because of history's pain, and yet we made the same mistakes all again. Demonize a whole people, Jewish or Muslim, the same and the same. Old situations play on repeat. The same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we worship the bleak. Our opinions aren't our own and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's...
Come on, baby. Yes. He's so good. I swear to God. I almost said sometimes. Like almost all the time. He's so... Liars. Okay. Dude. Brother. What a fucking bar, dude. There is no right. There is no left. In the middle, we sleep. Oh. He's also touching on horseshoe theory, by the way. Something that I fully love and I fully stand by. When you get so far on one side of the spectrum or the political aisle, you start making the same arguments. I'll give you a brief example so we can get through this quickly. What is MAGA or hardcore MAGA? No, just fucking MAGA. What does MAGA say the problem with our country is? That's right, the government. The government is the boogeyman to them, and it exists to take away their rights, imprison their people, and they believe that they're living under an authoritarian state. Okay. Well, what about the most radical tankies and socialists? What's their problem? They're not really on board with the government, but they don't talk about it as like the ultimate be-all, end-all evil. Oh, companies, corporations, they're the ultimate evil. Even though corporations literally create jobs for millions of Americans and give people, not all, but a lot of people get living wages from these things. They get to build a life for their family and kids. You could swap out their arguments for either or. It's the same fucking argument. Different fucking person. There is no level of cognitiveness in those arguments. Yes, corporations do bad things. Yes, governments do bad things. But you need to get into like grounded examples to determine why, what, and where. And people often attribute malice where they should attribute incompetence. It's not about left and right, who's good and bad. It's about when you're so far down the political spectrum, you're literally the same thing on the opposite side. Companies are not the ultimate devil, and governments are not always evil. It's a complex thing that needs to be handled with insight, compassion, empathy, and care. And when you dive into examples, you can look for particulars, and those particulars can tell you a lot of things. Like, was this program that we had good? Let's use US aid as an example. Yes, we were sending money to Africa, but we were also stopping millions of people dying a year or over the course of a few years for AIDS. That's called soft power. Soft power is a good thing because it's the way that we can extend olive branches to countries and help their people without putting a military base up their ass and saying, we are the boss, you will listen to us. Soft power was one of the most successful things that America's ever done. It was one of the small ways that we paid back some of the terrible things that our country had to do for its founding. And we just threw that away because some idiot, that fucking dumbass on my wall, said he didn't like spending that money. Instead of going through Congress, instead of having those monies actually turned away, they just completely shut down that branch of the government. There's nothing okay about that. There's nothing legal about that. When you're so far down a political aisle, you start making the same argument with just a different person at the end of it. You have to be careful not to fall into echo chambers, and you always have to ground out your position through examples. It's the only way you can have an actual constructive conversation about what's being said, because you can come up with a statement. We can both say the same thing, but have two different meanings.
Wish I'm whistling the same when the same old situations play on repeat. The same old TV shows repeat, yeah, we worship the bleak. Our opinions are our own and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's no right, in the middle we sleep. Rain, 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 the storm it comes our way. And those who rise through distorted lies, poison in the veins, but we like to point the
I've called it a possession multiple times. I love the way he moves when he's like articulating a thought or a thing. He's not only a good artist, he doesn't also, good is not the right word. He's not only a legendary artist, but he's also an artist in his body language and his writing and his movement and his acting. This man is a method acting. This man is a method actor, while also like the most prophetic bard I have ever seen in my life.
Rain, 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 the storm it comes our way. And those who rise through distorted lies, poison in the veins, but we like to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game.
What you got, homie? You gonna waterboard this guy? Let's not. Oh! Ooh. How is he doing something so beautiful while doing something so fucked up? Ooh, that sounded a little erotic. Ow! That's good acting. Oh, don't step on the guitar, homie. That's an angel singing. How are you gonna be angel mode?
This old money game.
Well, something so fucked up. Here's also something that's really dope. So, this man just got his ass beat, homie. All right, look. And the fact that he picked up the guitar and started playing is like a symbolistic. I don't know fuck, bro? I'm losing the word here. My stupid brain isn't working. Oh no. Symbolic. There we go. Fuck. It's symbolic to the theme that he's talking about. We all bear responsibility for harboring the world as it is. By picking up the guitar and just continuing to play after he just got his ass thrashed. He's complicit. He's like an animal locked in a zoo cage. He's got the fight drained out of him, and it's a bummer, but it's such a good representation of what he's talking about in the song.
Ooh, money gang. Ooh.
It's a good thing I don't know the words, else I'd be trying to sing this shit. This is catchy as fuck. I love that he leaves that shit in, dude. Don't do it, dog. That's fucked up. Look at the dread in this man's face right now. He's an infection, dude. He like gets into you, bro. What you got? What you got, homie? Okay, daddy, what's up? What you doing? What the fuck? Yo! How is this man a legendary artist, an amazing actor, an amazing songwriter? I heard him in that Token song. It wasn't like a center point, but he played the piano. He played that beautifully. Now, of course, didn't get a lot of time to like shine. But then on top of all of that, dog, not only does this man have the most Chad fucking chin, but this motherfucker is yoked with the beautiful, like, oh, look, he's funny, he's charismatic, and he's yoked. Jesus goddamn Christ. I swear to God, you could bounce a quarter off that fucking arm, dude. He might dent the goddamn thing. What the does he bench like 360 pounds? Holy fuck. Jesus. Fucking kudos, man. Fuck yeah. Oh, he's taking the mic off. Wait. Hold on, man. Like, you still got some time left in here. What are you? Oh, my I've been talking so long, my mouse died. He's got a sad expression on his face. What we doing, homie? Oh, don't do that. Don't Bushnell yourself, dog. That doesn't even look like water. That actually looks like it's... Ow! Oh, what a fucking ending, dude. Oh. Oh, okay, there's the official lyric video. You're next, bitch. Let's do this. Okay, cool. My fears, I mean, I probably was a little harder on that than, you know, people. I don't think I said anything that was super crazy. I didn't really disagree with anything you said. By the way, how do you like it when this is close? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I getting in there? Oh. Look, this was a really good video. I'm glad people asked me to react to it. I'm not gonna lie, I was shitting bricks. I can definitely tell Ren leans more left than I do, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm pretty sure by and large we're on the same side. We might disagree ultimately where the chip should fall, but I thought this was gonna be a lot worse. Thank God. Fuck. I will say this though. If you are someone who is on the right and you saw this video and you are offended by the things I said, I didn't mean to offend you. My parents are on the right. A lot of my friends are on the right. I work in an industry that is rampant with, blue collar guys. I understand your complaints with the world. I've heard them for years. I understand that you feel like you're losing jobs and they're being taken away from you, and you feel that other people are taking your money. And to some extent, there's a little truth to that. Yes, by bringing in cheaper labor, it makes it harder to negotiate for a higher price. But that being said, the hardest workers I've ever met were immigrants. They didn't take the things they have for granted. And yes, maybe a lot of companies extort those immigrants for cheaper labor. And they use that to drive prices down. But by doing that, it makes groceries more affordable, or things more affordable for more people. What we need to do is ask for more transparency in the industries that currently exist and in the government that we work with. We need less boogeymans and more honest conversation. I don't know how we get there. I try every day on, Twitter or Blue Sky, and I literally have someone so mad at me right now, they're going to hate read my first book, or my book, on stream. And I'm going to go watch it. I'm going to go listen to their criticism, and I might even make a YouTube video on it. But I know that they're not going to read that thing in good faith. They openly said that. They said that I made a disgusting piece of work, and they want to tear it down in front of their audience. And they have every right to do that. I posted it publicly. And I'm going to support their right to do that. And they're going to say some fucked up shit. But through all that fucked up shit, they might say something that can help me improve, not only as a writer, but as a person. Even in some of the worst criticisms, there's some truth to be gleaned, as long as you have thick enough skin to weather the storm. Politics is a scary game, and a lot of people get their feelings mixed up in it. We need to do our best to pull back our feelings in these situations and understand that there are people on the other side of any screen that you're talking to. And we owe it to ourselves to be as honest as possible when we're confronting things. Thank you for watching. There's a lot to chew on this video. I'm at 52 minutes for a 5-minute song. I think I ran my mouth long enough. I want to do the next one, but I might also slip in that ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Yeah, look, I love that track, and I might sprinkle that one in, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, I'll try my best not to sing in that reaction. Thank you for telling me to react to this. As always, you guys are tremendous voices that lift me up in ways that I just can't accurately describe. Peace, and have a wonderful day. Oh! Don't drop the mic. 53 fucking minutes. I'm so sorry.